The US Open is as thrilling as ever, and we're all so excited to see what comes next for our tennis champs. That match between Frances Tiafoe versus Andrey Rublev was just everything. Scary, exciting, nerve-wracking, and so emotional. We couldn't keep our eyes off the screens as these two played an epic battle. In this video, we'll tell you all that went down in that match and how Tiafoe won. Let's jump right in. First up, Frances Tiafoe takes the win in the 3-set match with Andrey Rublev. Wednesday made us realize many things, but one thing is for sure. Tennis is a super exciting game, and it has immense pressure. We all saw how there are just so many kinds of pressure that tennis players can exert on their opponents. This American player showed us everything during that game. You guys remember, right? We can't even forget if we try, and who'd want to forget that? Any tennis fan who saw that match has it etched into their memory. We saw Frances blasting massive serve after serve. He hit deep while he kept nearing the baseline to make sure Rublev was pushed into the very back of the court. He'd rush the net and stand there, just a few feet away, 35 we think. There was some pressure on the scoreboard as well, and that's especially when we see the early leads in the games. But also, those soft drop shots. Man, those were exhilarating. We felt intimidated, so just imagine the Russian players' feelings throughout. What's more, getting a crowd of more than 20,000 people up to the decibel count to such levels at those super crucial moments is just amazing. Tiafoe's win was pretty tight, and we didn't really expect it either. The match was so even for so long, you couldn't have seen it coming. It started with 2 sets of 7-6 each, and then right to 6-4 in the final one. Oh, and he won the tiebreakers too. Up next, Andrey Rublev dissolves into tears after loss. By the 3rd set, it was obvious that victory would be Tiafoe's. This may be happy news for all of us, but it was a very sad moment for the Russian star. At 4-3 in the 3rd, we could see Rublev in tears on his chair during the changeover. It was a heartbreaking sight, seeing that tennis player biting down on a tennis ball before he buried his face into his towel. We understand what he's going through. Andrey spent many tough months on the court, and this was finally his shot at a semi-final of a Grand Slam tournament. Losing that has got to be crushing. Fans on Twitter sent their hearts out to the Russian player, saying that it was hard watching one of their favorites break down like that. While many were happy that Frances won, they felt for Rublev and wished him only the best for the future. Let's take a look at the mistreatment this player has received because of his nationality. This man has gone through a lot over the past few months. As a tennis player, he never would have imagined that he'd have to deal with the crimes of his nation. Tennis players from Russia and Belarus haven't fared too well given the current political climate surrounding the countries. Wimbledon went so far as to ban these players from taking part in the event. Safe to say, it's been a difficult year for these players, and that's including Rublev. One Twitter user brought up the mistreatment he's received over the last months simply because of his nationality. Banned from one of the most prestigious events in the sport to playing without officially representing your country, now that's gotta be hard. The user wrote that this could have added to his reaction in court. The tweet also said how Rublev has been treated like a war criminal for the crimes of his country. We can't ever imagine being in his place. And add to that, playing an American opponent in front of an American crowd. The Russian wasn't just playing against Frances, he was playing against every single person in that court. And we have to say, we have a lot of respect for him for still going and engaging with the crowd post-match. Any other opponent would have walked right on, but not him. We can only hope next year is better for him. That said, our hearts are with those in Ukraine, but no one should be punished for crimes they have no part in committing. Coming up, Tiafoe might become the first American to win the US Open in a long time. No American has won the US Open since 2003. That's like 19 years. 19 years have gone by since our hero Andy Roddick lifted the trophy in New York. Here's a fun fact. Roddick was there to watch Tiafoe on Wednesday, and it looks like he could be there to watch his fellow American take the win home too. We know what you're thinking. Don't be too optimistic. He just made it to the semis. We hear you, and you're right. But ask yourself this. How many people have even come this close? Sure, we had Sam Querrey from California, who made his way to the Wimbledon semis in 2007, what with his huge serves. And no, we're not forgetting John Isner, who got there in 2018. But those moments never felt like this one from the get-go. This is just different, and we feel like we've got a lot to hope for here. So chin up, you guys. Have some faith in Frances. You all saw him play, right? The man's got what so many others don't. Those moments always felt like ceilings at best. This is the real deal. No one can doubt Tiafoe's skills, not even world champions like Rafael Nadal, who lost to the 24-year-old on Sunday. That ground-shifting upset made Frances the first American born after 1989 to beat Nadal, Novak Djokovic, or Roger Federer in any Grand Slam tournament. You can't deny that this man's special. By the way, did you know that he's the youngest American to make it to the US Open quarterfinals in 16 years? Yeah, you still think we're being too optimistic? We don't think so. This player has got what it takes. Moving on, the 24-year-old is a figure of hope for this country. We haven't seen an American player be as fast as he is in a long time. Like, he's serving what, 130 miles per hour? That too, in game after game. That's just crazy, and it's also very sudden. Until now, we all saw him play over the years and noticed how he was really prone to peaks and valleys in the middle of sets or matches. But now, he's gotten steady, and we think that might just be be his key to success. His hands were always quick with the racket, but they weren't playing rapidly anymore. This player can land the calmest drops as well as some very furious ones. That one blasted ace made him a US Open semi-finalist. It also made TFO a figure of hope for all of us. We've watched our women play on some of the biggest stages in the world over the past 10 years, and we think it's time we saw the men do the same too. Let's go, Francis. We're all rooting for you, man. For the big one, TFO made his career turnaround over the past 2 years. This man was just plunged into the top 80s like 2 years ago. How did he come from that to this? Let's rewind 3 years back. The Australian Open 2019. Things were kinda looking up for this player back then, as he made it into the quarterfinals. We thought he'd reach newer heights soon enough, but this player fell behind after that one breakthrough. In fact, it wasn't till a year later in 2020 that he got some of his skills back. Oh, and the rank. 2020's US Open was played at the height of the pandemic, but even in uncertain times and with zero spectators, Francis began his climb back to the top 30. More recently, we've seen this player trying to catch up with other top Americans his age. These include many big names like Taylor Fritz and Riley Opelka. It also has Tommy Paul, and these two grew up side by side. Finally, his performance against Rublev. That game quickly became the buzz of the US Open. Arthur Ashe Stadium was filled with American fans there to see him play, and we can tell they were pretty excited to see him win too. Francis had someone like Rublev breaking down in the final moments, kicking at balls by the end of the 2 hours and 36-minute long match. To be fair, the Russian player put up a great fight as he played his opponent nearly to a draw during the first 100 minutes, but the second set tiebreaker settled it all. We all saw TFO play 7 points to pressure Rublev into giving in. If you ask us, those points were some of the best ones of Francis's entire career. In the third round, the American smashed serve after serve, landing at his Russian opponent's feet. No matter how hard Rublev fought, he was mostly finished by then, and we all knew that he wasn't going to win this one. He kept going till he could, and we have to say we really respect that. He cracked soon enough though, as he missed a shot that gave TFO a chance to break his serve, and that was that. Francis took the win. That's a wrap for this video. What did you think of the game? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.